Welcome to DU Digimon.
Hello and welcome to DU Digimon and welcome to another deck profile. If you're liking this sort of content, please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel and ding that notification bell so you're not missing out on any of the latest content. Sorry that this video is a little bit late out this week. I've already recorded it once and realised that I had mic issues the entire time that I could not fix. So I'm recording it again. Basically, this is BlackWarGreymon. This is BlackWarGreymon. And it's basically a deck that I was very close to taking to regionals. I went to Bristol regionals just last weekend, and I didn't do too well. I took Hoodie, and as I predicted on the way up to the event, there were a lot of people with counters to Hoodie. So I fumbled hard. I fumbled really hard. I came like 159th. I did not do very well. Bless him. I even got sat next to a person who based his Hoodie deck profile on mine. And I just said to him, well, that explains why we're both here. You know, it's just the way it goes sometimes. You just get run into bad matchups. I had a really fun time, though. Particularly a very good match against a Royal Base player. I believe her name was Morgan. That was really fun. There was a Levia player who absolutely kicked my shit in, though I did take a game off of it. And a Royal Knights player who... I was ready to go. OTK was ready to go. I was like, oh, yeah, we're going to do it. And he just went Crimson Blaze. And it was just like... But hey-ho. We live. We learn. Next time we play BlackWarGreymon. Maybe. But this is the deck list. The reason I ended up not taking it to regionals was because I just didn't really have time to test it against everything that was you know, applicable to the meta. I tested it against Hoodie as much as I could, and it always gave a really, really good kind of go at beating it, and could nab games off of it, but it was still, I think, probably like 6 times out of 10 would still be losing to Hoodie. So I think it still needs a little bit of a cook, and I kind of want to just like improve it a little bit more, but you know, this is the ideas as they're coming along right now, and I do really like it. You know, I think it might need a little bit of refinement, but you know, that's what you guys in the comments are for. I put out a deck profile, you give me your opinions, I make them better after the fact. Anyways, this is the deck profile, so let's get into it. So first of all, we've got the egg, which is the Koromon, of course. When an attack target is switched, we just draw 1. Super simple. I really want to try and sneak this into more like raid archetypes, and we do of course have a bit of raid in this, and we're going to get even more with the new cards from BT24, because we've actually got a Greymon raid in Harrisburg, which is very good for one of our cards. You know, so that'll be really nice. Then we've got the Agumon from EX10. This one's just at 2 copies, and we just start a main, we push out, and then we're going to get our Greymon with the virus trait from our trash, which is quite handy because we're not the most consistent deck in the world, so being able to recur our trash, you know, is pretty nice. And it just has a 1000 DP, all turns in Harrisburg. Then we've got 2 copies of the Agumon X from BT11. This is our only searcher in terms of the Digimon. We do have one other searcher. So on play, when Digivolving, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Add 1 card with Greymon or X Antibody in its name, and 1 black Tamer card among them to your hand. Place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. I would have very well considered the BT12 Agumon over this as our main searcher. However, BT12 Agumon only searches ties, and 2 of our Tamers are not tie, so we kind of need to make sure we're getting a little bit more generic, and that's where this guy comes in. He also does have a protection effect, technically speaking, which is when this Digimon with Greymon or Omnimon in its name would be deleted or returned to your hand or deck by an effect by placing X Antibody from this Digimon's Digivolution cards at the bottom of its owner's deck. Prevent this Digimon from leaving play, which is pretty handy. Next, we've got the 3 copies of Agumon from the structure deck. Start a main, it will just gain us a memory if the opponent has a Digimon, which is quite nice, stacks up with one of our Tamers, and also has an all turns effect. When attack target is switched, gain 1 memory, so that is very handy as well. Then we've got the Agumon X from BT22, which, as you'll notice, is green and purple. And I remember back when I first saw people were taking this in, I was like, why? And then I saw the way. And essentially that way is, first of all, you may return 1 Digimon card with Tyrannomon in its name or the dinosaur trait from your trash to the hand. That's the on play when Digivolving. So you can use these 2 in conjunction, essentially. You know, push out with this one, start of main, grab one of your RizeGreymons, so that's most of your level 5s, both of your level 6s, some of your level 4s. Then you use this one to grab your dinosaur traits, so that's your other level 4, whatever. So you know, you can kind of use them in conjunction there. you know, which is quite nice. But the other thing as well is that all turns, when this Digimon deletes your opponent's Digimon in battle, gain 1 memory, which is very handy. Then we've got 3 copies of the Greymon from EX10. This one has Raid. It's got an on-play when Digivolving. One Digimon gets 3000 DP until your opponent's turn ends. I bumped this one up because I think back in my last profile for BlackWarGreymon, I think I was only running 2, but I bumped it up specifically for stuff like the Royal Knights matchup, because we're not always going to be the biggest thing going into security, and if we're going against Royal Knights, we need to be bigger. So by giving ourselves a little boost does help us out, especially given the inheritables as well. You know, that 3000 DP plus the 1000 DP inheritable, that's going to boost us up by 4k, so that'll bring us up to about 16k, which should clear most things, with the Agumon underneath us as well, 17k, so that'll do us nicely. Then we've got 3 copies of the ST15 Greymon. It's got a security effect where if you were to trigger it in the security, you get to play out an Agumon or one tamer with Tai Kamiya in its name from your hand or trash without paying the cost, which is quite nice. It does have blocker as well, so it can be a little defensive tool. All turns, when the attack target is switched, gain 1 memory. So if you have this, Agumon and the BT22 Agumon X underneath, you can gain 3 memory from switching targets and deleting something, which is very nice. Then, of course, we've got the one of Greymon X from BT11. When his Digimon would digivolve into a card with Greymon in its name, reduce the cost by 1 for each of that card's colours. And that is precisely why this card is still limited to this day. You know, more than bloody 12 formats since its release. Or 12 core sets, I should say, since its release. You know, because there's just so many 2-color Greymons, and there's going to keep being 2-color Greymons. We've got another one on the way in BT24, for example. So it will just keep being really good, and will never come off of the ban list. And then on top of that, it also has a protection inheritable, the same one as the BT11 Agumon X. Then we've got 2 copies of the Greymon from BT12, and this one's just here to help us play out our ties if we don't have one, and also give us a 1000 DP inheritable. I would be tempted to take this one out, but sometimes we just need a little bit of help getting our tamers out. Granted, we only play 1 tie in name, but it still helps us out in that regard. Then going on to our level 5, speaking of playing out tamers, we've got the RizeGreymon from BT22. Play this for 2 reasons. 1, the fact that it plays out any black or red play cost 4 or less tamer, and that is all of our tamers. And 2, did I say A or did I say 1? I don't know. 2B. It's got a security attack plus 1 inheritable, so that just helps us with kind of just ticking damage and doing a bit more aggro, which this deck does sometimes lack. Then going into our other level 5s, we've got 3 copies of the EX10 MetalGreymon. It's got Reboot. On play when Digivolving, give one of your opponent's Digimon collision, and start of your main phase, this Digimon attacks until their turn ends. It's a taunter, so it'll, you know, get them to you know, swing on in. The only matchup where that's really not very relevant is going to be Royal Knights, because they just go and suck up their stuff into the Draciel in the back, you know, at the start of their turn, so they're not going to be taunting as much. You can force their Omecamons to attack in, but they kind of want their Omecamons to die anyway, so it really does not matter. But it does have a really good inheritable, which is when the attack target is switched, it is only an opponent's turn effect. If this Digimon has Greymon in its name, trash your opponent's top security cards. That is very nice. In a similar vein, we've got the MetalGreymon X from BT11. So, reason why I say similar vein is the inheritable is an opponent's turn effect when a Digimon becomes unsuspended. If this Digimon has Greymon or Omnimon in its name, trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. It's also got a when Digivolving effect until the end of your opponent's turn. This Digimon can't have its DP reduced by your opponent's effects and isn't affected by Digivolve, which is really, really handy in the Hoodie matchup specifically, because Hoodie does so much DP reduction. So we just go, I ignore you, we're good. Then, if MetalGreymon or X Antibody is in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 6000 DP or less. Then going into level 6s, we've got 4 of the BlackWarGreymon Ace. It's got Raid, it's got Reboot, it's got Blocker. On play when Digivolving, delete one of your opponent's playcost 7 or lower Digimon or Tamers. And who just so happens to be 7 playcost? Hoodie. All turns, while your opponent has a Digimon of 13,000 DP or more, your opponent's Digimon effects don't affect this Digimon, and it gains 3,000 DP, so that can be pretty handy as well. Of course, Hoodie can play underneath the threshold there, but a lot of the other decks can't. Stuff like Royal Knights, Omnimon, they are just going to be triggering that all turns day effect for days, you know, and you're going to have that immunity pretty much all the time against them. Then we've got 1 copy of the promo Gaiomon. This is the card that will really, really benefit from Raid when we've got the new BT24 Greymon. It's got Reboot, Blocker. When Digivolving until your opponent's turn ends, one of your opponent's Digimon gains start of your main phase. This Digimon attacks, then this Digimon may attack. And then also to effect, when attack target change, trash your opponent's top security card. So when this has got Raid, this card on its own will trash 2 cards from security because it will swing, raid into something. That's an attack target switch, trashes a card. Then, so long as they've got something else that you've taunted, they'll attack in, you block, that's another trash. Not to mention the trashing from your MetalGreymon X and your MetalGreymon. In an absolutely perfect world where they've got 2 Digimon out that are smaller than you, with raid underneath, it will then do 5 checks on its own, which is really good. Of course, we don't just quite have that yet, so we've got other things to help out, like the security tap +1 from Greymon, the trashing effect from MetalGreymon, and the trashing effect from MetalGreymon X, so it's pretty good. You could very well play the BT22 one instead. The BT22 one is probably better for like stuff like the Raw Knights matchup, because when attack target switch, it gets 5000 DP and gets really big. It's got the piercing as well, but it doesn't have blocker, which, to be fair, we could give it in this deck. We could play some of our Greymons with blocker inheritables. We could play the BT12 Tai, which I have considered swapping out one of the cards for that one, and we'll get into that in a minute. But for the time being, I do really like this card. I think its ability to kind of do so much trashing on its own is a really nice kind of aggro tick for us, which I do very much enjoy. Next, we've got the Tamers. We've got 2 copies of Yuuko Kamishiro from BT22. She'll gain us a memory if the opponent's got a Digimon in play, and all turns when the attack target is changed by suspending this Tamer for the turn, so only for 1 turn, unfortunately. Your opponent's Digimon's effects don't affect one of your Digimon with Greymon in its name or the CS trait, and it gets 3000 DP. It does also have an inheritable, but we ain't doing any of that eater shit. Next is Yuuya. So we've got Yuuko and Yuuya. And Yuuya is one of our memory tamers, possibly our only memory tamer if we do decide to switch. Spoilers. It's Tai. We're looking to switch Tai. Anyways, this guy is when one of your Digimon digivolves into a Digimon with Greymon in its name. By suspending this tamer, that Digimon gets 2000 DP until the end of your opponent's turn. If it digivolved into a same level Digimon, it isn't affected by your opponent's option cards until the end of your opponent's turn. Now, we're not triggering that effect too much, and we definitely could be in a world where we're trying to trigger that more. Like, we could take out the Gaiomon for a BlackWarGreymon X, for example. We could bump our numbers up with the MetalGreymon X and the Metalgreymon just to make sure they're the same level. We could put the red Greymon X back in, but I decided not to for color consistency. So and that being protected by options is not going to help you against every deck, but again, it's great against Hoodie, because if they're playing Ryuji and they're going to go, I'm suspended, I'm going to de-digivolve you, I'm going to blow you up, we just ignore it, which is nice. Next, we've got the ST15 Tai, which is the one I'm thinking of swapping out. I do really love this tamer because the 2000 DP and the draw whenever we're attack target switching is very nice. It's a memory setter as well. However, I do wonder if the BT12 Tai would be better with the blocker, but I think if I do go that route, I would also then swap out the promo Gaiomon for the BT22 one, and then kind of see how it goes. Really, I do love this one though, because it does help us with the draw, because this guy in combination with the Koromon is going to get us 2 draws, which is very nice, especially seeing Greymon is never the most consistent deck, let's be honest. Next we go into the options, and we are playing a shit ton of them. First of all, 2 copies of Crimson Blaze, the single best card I think at stopping Hoodie, because it blows up everything that's 6000 DP or less, which everything apart from Hoodie and Shakuamon and Justimon, if you're playing it, is going to be 6000 DP or less, and it stops them playing Digimon by effects. I'd actually be really tempted just to have a 4 of this and just say fuck it, because it's just really good. It also helps against Raw Knights in some way, because it will stop them from playing stuff with their Drasil, the BT23 one, the Purge, the Omnimon. It'll stop all of those sorts of bits. It'll also, speaking of Omnimon, it will stop Nokia from being able to poop out the Agumon Agumon at the beginning of the turn as well. So it's a very, very good card, this format. Crimson Blaze always kind of comes in and out of the kind of contention. Actually, we did a video looking at a bunch of different cards which are going to be really handy in this format, and Crimson Blaze was one of the first ones I thought of for that video, because it is just very good. If you can feel Crimson Blaze's format, you're in for a good time. Next, we've got Chrome Memory Boost, which is in here for our consistency. And the reason we went with Chrome Memory Boost is only because of Agumon X and BT22, because it allows us to search our greens and blacks, and all of our Digimon are black, bar Agumon X, who is also green. So we can search him as well. We could very well change Chrome for like Garnet, so we can then play the BT9 Greymon X, for example, but then we're not going to be able to search the Agumon X and things like that. You could very well go for more of like a red build, so take out a lot of the black components and go for like maybe like the I think one that's called, say it's Magenta, the red purple one, and then you could search the Agumon X that way, but then you're going to get less memory because you haven't got the Agumon and the Greymon. So I figured Chrome Memory Boost is the best thing, and I say I figured, I was having a chat with someone, I think it was in our Discord or was it Dane's Discord? I can't remember. I saw a list that had Chrome Memory Boost, and I really liked the idea of it, so I pinched it. So yeah, whoever you were, feel free to comment below. Thank you for being smarter than I am. Next, we've got Kongou. So this is another really great tech card in this format, specifically for Hoodie and Mastemon. Until the end of your opponent's turn, your opponent's Digimon play costs of 7 or less can't attack players, and cards can't be added to security stacks by your opponent's effects. So this just shuts off yellow for 2 cost, which is very handy, because Mastemon is going to be like, oh no, I've trashed all my stuff, oh no, I'm just going to add it all back. And just 1 Kongou stops them from doing that. So very nice. Next, I've got Waltz's End at 1 copy, and I'm really tempted to bump this up to 2. I really like it. It's a really funny card. Main, until the end of your opponent's turn, one of your Digimon gains opponent's turn. When this Digimon becomes suspended, delete all of your opponent's Digimon with a play cost less than or equal to this Digimon's. And opponent's turn, this Digimon isn't affected by your opponent's options. So this forcibly, if you've taunted Hoodie, or if they try and attack in, we suspend, we blow up all their stuff at 7 play cost or less if it's BlackWarGreymon, 13 play cost or less if it's Gaiomon, which is just really cool, and the option immunity again is really good. But again, I've got it as a one-off. I'm tempted to bump it up to 2, but it's just a one-off for the time being. I've got then 2 black scrambles. Again, this helps us with our trash recursion. You know, so it is going to let us digivolve for cheaper as well. Only by 1, of course, but you know, it's going to help us. So it technically reduces by 3, but you use it for 1, so it only reduces by 1, technically speaking. Start of your turn as well. If your opponent has a Digimon delay, return 1 black Digimon card from your trash to the top of the deck. Then, if you don't have a Digimon, you may play 1 black Digimon card with 2000 DP or less for your trash without paying the cost. So this plus the EX10 Agumon plus the BT22 Agumon basically just lets you just grab back your most of your stack again, which is very handy. And then the last 2 cards are 2 copies of X Antibody Proto form, and I did this because it helps us go more cheaply into MetalGreymon X and into Gaiomon, technically Greymon X as well if we need to. On top of that, if one of our stacks does die, then it just goes into the security and gives us a little bit of a replenish, which is not bad. But that is the deck, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you think this BlackWarGreymon deck looks amazing? Do you think it looks like horse shit? You know, let me know what you guys think in the bottom below. Do you think I should have taken this one to regionals? Do you think it may have surprised people a little bit more than Hoodie? Do you think, you know, Hoodie was my better bet? You know, let me know in the comments below. Anyways, also, let me know what sort of things you guys want to see more of. I definitely want to do more like discussion videos, more, you know, a couple more deck profiles on the way. I still need to chase Will for his top 16 deck from regionals, which I kind of need to try and strike the iron whilst it's hot. But I've been very busy this week, and I've had technical difficulties, so that's been kind of not ideal. But, you know, let me know what you guys want to see more of, and we'll see what we can do. Like, subscribe, ding that notification bell, and we'll see you again on the next video. But until then, keep it digital.